Well, all we're asking is for everybody to be fair. That's it. Just fair.
A contract is one of the trickiest tools in the business world. Getting them to truly be fair is a long back and forth. It all depends on how much pull each person at the negotiating table has. Actors can often have a lot of pull during film negotiations. That has led to some truly wild demands. Keep watching to learn about the craziest contract demands, including the surprising reason Danny Trejo dies in all of his movies. Hector Elizondo and Garry Marshall. Not every actor's contract demands are about themselves. Sometimes they're about helping out a friend. Certain Hollywood personalities seem to work together all the time. Take Tim Burton and Johnny Depp. Only a few have put it in writing, though. Hector Elizondo met Garry Marshall in 1979. It wasn't a smooth introduction because he accidentally hit him in the face with a basketball. He remembers,
he says, "You're a terrific actor, but a lousy passer. Let's have a meeting. I think I got a movie for you." Something like that is how we met. And that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
From there, Garry pitched Two Young Doctors in Love. It was only the first film in a long working relationship. Garry specifically wrote it into all of his film contracts that he could cast his friend Hector in all of his films. It was a friendship solidified in paper and on screen. Hector notes how long it's lasted, saying,
17 movies later? Something like that. A lot of movies.
Tom Cruise. Tom's name alone gives him pull when negotiating a contract. He can make almost any kind of demand he wants. That can include changing the film. His contract for 2017's The Mummy reportedly gave him a great deal of creative control. That included everything from pre to post-production. He used that power, bringing in new scriptwriters and changing the story to give himself more screen time. Tom even changed the release date. He moved it to June, making it harder for the film to stand out amongst all the other summer blockbusters of the year. There's also a widespread demand he's made across his contracts. No one can use his likeness for any merchandise, video games, or other merchandises related to films he's been in. George Clooney. George Clooney's also got a name and reputation that gives him pull during contract negotiation time. He can make some pretty wild requests. George only had to feel like he was drifting alone in space while filming 2013's Gravity. When he was offset, there were plenty of creature comforts to enjoy. He allegedly had a private beach hut home to spend downtime in. He also negotiated a basketball court to get exercise. Sandra Bullock's son even visited. Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel knows his booming voice isn't all for show. He's admitted he can be a hard taskmaster for some directors. His contract demands make this clear. They go beyond typical clauses, such as being able to decide what he does and doesn't film and what goes into movies. Samuel writes in some mandatory downtime. His contracts say he must have enough time to go golfing twice a week in all his contracts. Jack Nicholson. Jack also wrote a love for sports into his contract for 1989's Batman. He'd been an LA Lakers fan for years and would often sit courtside. That's why he negotiated extra time for filming so he could go to home games. When the movie shifted filming from California to England, the games were taped and shipped to him instead. No one was allegedly allowed to talk to him about the scores and spoil the fun until he'd watched them. Jack's Batman contract also showed business sense. He was willing to reduce his salary to get a cut of the film's box office and advertising money. That investment ended up paying back approximately $60 to $90 million. Uma Thurman. When you think of actor demands, you probably think of the type Uma Thurman made while filming 2008's Eloise in Paris. The movie never got made, and the production company was sued for failure to make good on an agreement. Uma's contract and the demands within it got leaked online during the dispute. Uma asked that no one have, quote, more favorable dressing facilities than her. That included at least a 3-bedroom hotel suite and 3 mobile phones. The demands didn't only extend to filming, she also wanted to be able to buy any of her costumes from the film at a 50% discount. Julianna Margulies. A role in a film can require a major physical transformation. The new look can be expensive. Julianna wanted her character on The Good Wife to look completely different from her ER character, Nurse Carol Hathaway. That's why she had it written into her contract that she could wear wigs at any time she was on screen. The hair pieces were made for her with real human hair and reportedly cost about $10,000 each. They were made in London and flown into Vancouver once shooting on the first episode began. Roger Moore. There have been so many actors playing the super spy James Bond now that it's more of a title than a role. Each one who donned it added unique quirks to help their portrayal stand out. Roger Moore made Bond suave as he's ever been, and he was also a major fan of cigars. Roger loved cigars so much he worked them into his contract. He appeared in 7 Bond films. The contract for each one included a clause that allowed him access to unlimited Monte Cristo cigars. It helped cement his version of the character, and there were times it even served the story. Lighting a cigar got Roger's Bond away from a potentially deadly snake in 1973's Live and Let Die. Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren is a firm believer in the phrase try again. He was a Swedish actor who acted in 2 films in his early career, both of which required little dialogue. That's why his thick Swedish accent wasn't a problem in either. Then he got cast in the lead in the first He-Man film. This time he'd need to deliver more lines. Dolph struggled to say them clearly. The director and marketing executives wanted to have his voice dubbed over. However, Dolph's contract said they couldn't right away. He'd included a clause that said they had to give him 3 tries to say the line before dubbing it. That allowed his actual voice to deliver the iconic words used in the final cut, such as the famous He-Man catchphrase, Danny Trejo. The surprising reason Danny Trejo dies in all of his movies, or at least most of them, goes back to his criminal past. He spent years in jail until he gave his life to the Lord and turned it around. From there, he created a thriving acting career. But Danny doesn't want to forget his past or encourage viewers to follow in it. That's why, whenever he plays a criminal in a film or show, he puts a clause in his contract that his character has to be killed off. He doesn't want to get away with murder anymore, even on screen. He wants to show viewers that crime doesn't pay. Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah's contract clause is the exact opposite of Danny's. It all began after 1996's Set It Off. Her character had a dramatic death scene. While it worked for the film, it kept her from appearing in any sequels. That's why she decided to add a no-death clause to her contracts going forward. As she told Drew Barrymore,
I was like, wait a minute, if I keep dying in these movies, I can't do a sequel. So it's like, yo, we gotta put a no-death clause in my contracts.
Vin Diesel, Jason Statham, and Dwayne Johnson. This trio of macho action stars added a new clause to their contracts when they began starring in the Fast and Furious films together. They wanted to ensure none of them ever came out as looking like a loser in a fight. The production team said their contracts regulated how many punches they could take. Vin tried to work out a point system to measure each scene. When that got too complicated, they moved to careful choreography instead. Michael Fortel said the fights were choreographed, so no one was ever the loser. Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. Actors arguing over top billing is nothing new. There are times when it's even written into their contracts. 1974's The Towering Inferno saw Paul Newman and Steve McQueen join forces, but not without some butting of heads. Steve insisted he get equal billing with Paul. That's why his name appears first on the movie's poster, even though it's a bit lower than Paul's. It satisfied both of them. That wasn't all. Steve also wanted to make sure he had the exact same number of lines and that he got the literal last word. He reportedly counted out the lines, and when he found they weren't equal, demanded his character get more. Mark Wahlberg. Mark was the first choice to play the lead in 2012's Silver Lining Playbook. The role eventually went to Bradley Cooper. The change may have stung extra hard because the director, David O. Russell, was one of Mark's friends. However, David's collaborator, Matt Muzio, said, quote, "They went with Brad Cooper because they felt he was hungrier and would work for cheaper. That doesn't mean Mark went home without a payday. He worked in a clause into his contract for the time he was working on the film. It entitled him to $900,000 if the female lead, who was Anne Hathaway at the time, dropped out. He didn't want to get hit with a box office dud if she left and was replaced by a lesser-known actress who didn't bring in an audience. Turns out Mark made a decent choice. Anne did drop out. He would have made more money if he'd been able to stay on the film and act with Jennifer Lawrence instead, but at least he went home with something instead of nothing. Now it's time to hear from you. What would you ask for in your film contracts? Let us know in the comment section below.